Welcome to this course on football analysis. I am Nacho Ferrer. I am the technical director of the Brisbane Strikers Academy, and the aim of this course is to share with you a specific methodology to analyze football games. In Spain, as a UEFA Pro license and director of football, I coached for more than 25 years, 6 of them in the Academy of Real Madrid and 2 more in the Madrid Football Federation. During this time, I learned from some of the best coaches and analysts, especially their ways to break down the game and their methodology to understand what is happening on the field from a tactical perspective. I also studied and graduated from the Football Federation as an expert on analysis of football. And what I learned during this time allowed me to put together my own ideas in order to analyze the game the best way possible. These contents are exactly what I intend to share with you in this course. Are you ready? Let's begin. In this first session of the course, the introduction, we will go over a number of general aspects that shall have an impact on our analysis. Firstly, we need to consider our own role when watching a game, because if we were just trying to enjoy the match, the skills of the players, the passion for the score, if we were watching the game as a fan, we don't really need to apply any kind of method. And honestly, you don't need to take a course for that. Another potential role is as a journalist, and in this case, a certain sort of analysis will be required, but the priority will be to communicate in an informative manner for a non-technical audience what is happening on the field. None of these two approaches are going to be taken into consideration during this course, nor will we go over the role of a scout, since a scout is so focused on the individual player that, in my opinion, it is impossible and necessary for their purpose to do a collective analysis in depth at the same time. Instead, we will talk about a technical role that aims to look at the game from a more collective perspective, either by the members of a coaching staff, head coach, assistants, analysts, or by anyone from outside these roles, but who desires to look at the game through those curious analytical eyes. And in doing so, we will still find several types of analysis depending on the aim of our work. The first one, a technical person, which is watching the game without a major interest in any of the teams, but just trying to understand what is happening and to learn from the match. This will be the third session of this course. Another type of analysis, if we are analyzing our next opponent. This will require a specific methodology to follow, as we will see in the fifth session. Another one, a review of the video of our own game in order to reflect and to learn more in depth, both from a team and from an individual player perspective. It is important to mention how essential the individual reviews are in a senior football context, but also and especially within the academies, since these individual clips are a key component in the individual development of the player. We will spend 2 of the last 3 sessions of the course on these matters. And finally, analyzing your own team live, on the bench or in the stands, with the need to see, understand, and make decisions on the go. A very difficult task which requires expertise and a method to follow. This will be looked at in the last of our sessions in this course. Once we are clear about our role and our purpose when analyzing a football match, then we need to consider the source of the game. A game live on the field will give us the possibility to see the full field and also to have a real feeling of what is happening. Whereas watching the game through the footage of a camera will allow us to rewind and have another and better look to some key actions. If possible, it is really important that the shot of the camera is full field instead of just a portion. As we will see in the next session of the course, Some of what we call scenarios of the game are mainly based on the farthest players from the ball. And if the camera shot is not fulfilled, then we will miss those players. Unfortunately, this is what happens when we watch games directly from the TV. And that is why our analysis will be affected by these details, and we need to consider what the source of the game is going to be. In addition, some software programs allow the possibility to watch the game in a non-linear manner. This means that we can sort the game in labels and watch, for example, all the goal kick actions together or all of the finishing plays in a row. Also, in order to save some time, we can choose to watch only the ball in play time. Today, technology opens many doors, and our perception of the game can be highly affected by the source of the game that we are watching and by the way this match is presented to us. Now let's talk more in depth about the things that can help us to be more efficient and successful in our analysis and what can be a distorting element. Firstly, information that we have prior to the match may give us a good starting point. The same if we know who is who on the field, since we will get to understand the movements of the players easier and earlier. Finally, watching the press conference of a coach previous to a game will be useful in order to learn what he is expecting from his own team. On the contrary, misusing or misunderstanding some of the components that we have mentioned can be considered as distorting elements. To start with, it won't be good at all if the information that we had collected in advance turns into a prejudice and we are not open to see something unexpected happening. For instance, if, let's say, a team like Spain that normally plays in short decides or is forced in a game to play more long balls than normal, and we are not able to see it because we are expecting a very specific and clear behavior. Also, when we listen to TV commentary that might influence our opinion, normally commentators will have more information than us and they will be doing the analysis on our behalf, which is good if we want to learn from them. But if what we want is to do the analysis by ourselves, we'd better turn the volume off. Finally, we had mentioned that nowadays football software allows us to watch the games in a non-linear manner. Well, this can be tricky because too much distortion might lead us to miss the flow of the game and get a wrong perception of what we see. As we will discuss in the second part of the course, there is a principle which is the chained actions that implies that everything has got a cause and a consequence. For this reason, watching the actions in an isolated manner might end up being negative for the outcome of the analysis. We also need to mention the very obvious limiting factors that we are going to find in any analysis process, which are going to be resources and time. As we will see in further parts of the course, analysis work can be so comprehensive that we might never find the boundaries to get it done. But the number of people involved and the time that we have is limited for sure. Therefore, it comes to a matter of priorities. And it will be also good if we can take some shortcuts as a result of our experience and we can skip some steps. We cannot do everything, and how wisely we use our resources will be key for the outcome of our job. Another important field of discussion is how relevant the numbers, the statistics are going to be. In this course, observation will come first, and the data, although helpful, will be secondary. In the fourth session, we will go over the numbers that, in my personal opinion, should be used in football. Using those specific parameters, I would give more relevance to the numbers, but as it stands now, I strongly believe the statistics need to be just a complement to the observation. And through that observation, what are we mainly trying to find in the game? The answer is patterns. This is a key word when talking about analysis of the game, and the patterns can be identified according to several features. The first one is how frequent they are during the game. If something is happening over and over, there we have a pattern. Also, if a specific football behavior is occasional, it can be identified as a pattern as long as it calls our attention enough for being a new or exceptional concept. Finally, a singular action with a high impact on the score, it must be included in our analysis as a relevant pattern. But everything we have mentioned so far needs to be put into context. And this means that anything a team shows on the field is against a certain level and a certain kind of opposition, which is allowing or not allowing them to play in a specific way. In addition, the strategic plan of a team sometimes does not match what they show on the field. This is why we need to match intentions with reality, because a team is not able to show something or to develop an idea to a high standard. It doesn't mean that they don't intend to do it. And this is relevant, especially when we are trying to analyze our next opponent, since their plans might remain hidden under a poor performance. We need to understand more than just what we are able to see. In summary, we started by discussing the role that we can take when watching a game and how important this is for the analysis process. The source of a game is going to influence the sort of analysis that we can carry out live, on the field, watching the footage, full field shot of the camera. The more we prepare the game in advance, the better our analysis will be. And we also need to be aware of the elements that can give us a wrong perspective of the match. We also said that for this course, observation will be the base of our analysis, with statistics and numbers used as a complement. Patterns are what we are going to look for when analyzing a game. And finally, all our conclusions need to be put into the right context. What we see from one specific match may be affected by the standard of the opposition or just a poor performance that can skew or even hide a team's personality and intent. This is all for the first part of the course. In the next session, we will talk about some football general concepts. Thank you.